If you keep yourself mentally strong, control your emotions, take a step back, you can feel so much better in the long run. Have you ever noticed how when the weather's really bad, how you feel down, and then when it brightens up, you feel better? Well, that was brought to mind a long while ago. In fact, I was in America way back in the 80s. We had this taxi driver, his name was Howard, and we were talking about the differences between our two countries. He was saying that he could never live in England because being in Florida, it woke up with the sun most days and he always felt a lot better. Now, doesn't that make you wonder, though, who is in control of our feelings and our emotions? If you feel better because of the weather, that's an outside force making you feel good or bad. And you said the problem is that many things are out of our control. Things are going on around the world all the time. It's very easy to get dragged into the emotion of it all and letting those outside forces dictate to you how you feel. I'm a heart on my sleeve type of guy, and I know full well that I fall for all those sorts of things. Our taxes can go up, petrol can go up, food prices can go up, and I get completely ate up with it all. And that's really not the way you should handle it, is it, when you think about it? Because those things may be happening, but you don't have to fall foul to the thoughts that are going on in your head. It happens very much that people say things about us and we get wound up and we get angry about it, or we get upset. I know for a fact with my YouTube channel, I get some comments that really get down deep inside you. And it's whether you have that inner strength, I suppose, or that inner will to go, hang on a minute, you can think what you like. You are entitled to your opinions, but I know that I'm doing the right thing. And it's very true that we should sort of not give way to the outside forces, because how we feel about ourselves and how we allow all those things to happen can change our mood and make us feel worse. And the thing is, do you want to feel worse? I know I don't. For me, I like to feel much better. I like to feel an even flow. I like to feel that things are nice and things are going well. When something happens to you or when someone says something to you, you don't have to react to it. You don't have to get hurt by what somebody else says. You can take a step back, dwell on it, think about it, yeah, indeed. But you don't have to agree, because that's their opinion and not yours. And the other thing that goes on around us that really gets to me is that we seem to be overwhelmed these days, having phones with us all the time, having the internet on and watching PCs and the telly and iPads and all that sort of stuff. We're easily overwhelmed with information. The way we've overcome all of that bad news coming to us hour after hour, day after day, is that we don't watch the news on the telly. We don't buy newspapers. Even so, we still seem to find out about it. But by pulling ourselves away from that, it's possible that we don't have to get as stung by it as most people. If you look around you and you look on social media, for instance, we see the effects of it day in, day out. But you don't have to take part in that conversation. I know for myself, being the kind of guy I am, things can happen and I take it to heart so quickly, and I can get wound up and upset. And someone said to me a long, long time ago about, don't sweat the small stuff. Don't let it get to you. Think about, is what's happening to you now going to be important in perhaps 5 years? You can have a row with somebody in the morning, and is it important? Is it going to be something that an hour down the road when pressure's off, it's not going to matter? I know it's really possible for us to fall out and have petty squabbles with people and get all wound up in the moment. But if you take that step back, you can think to yourself, is this going to matter in 5 days? We all have things that go on around us and things that pull us down and get us agitated. But it's at times like those when we have to take a step back and think to ourselves, is it that important? Will what I'm worrying about be of any consequence a week from now, a year from now? For the most part, it isn't. And sweating the small stuff doesn't do you any good. And one of the things that I've found in life is that the things that life chucks at you, the problems, the things, the obstacles, you can be going somewhere. Some of the things in life that really set us back, the obstacles that we get, the problems that come at us day after day. And it happens to all of us. But there is another way of looking at it. Many years ago, when I lost my business and it seemed like the world was coming in and caving in on us, for a long time I played the victim. It wasn't my fault, this caused it, that caused it. But then at one stage, for some reason, I realised that it was an opportunity for me to move forward. I learned new things. I'll give you an example. Years ago, when I was travelling on fairgrounds, the first year I got married, we were given one of those round stools as a wedding present to go and earn a living with. And the pattern on it was absolutely awful. It was really dark. It was navy blue and like a maroony colour, and I didn't like it. So what I did was paint all of the panels out. Where the pattern was, I painted them all cream. So the stool itself was yellow and cream. And through the course of the summer, the more I looked at it, the more I hated it. I really didn't like it. And so I went about finding someone who could perhaps paint it up for me. I found out that it didn't matter who was going to paint it for me. I couldn't afford for it to be done. And so what I ended up doing was painting it myself. My ride had a pattern on it. So I copied the pattern onto a piece of card, made it the size of the panel, and reshaped it to fit it. And over the course of a winter, I repainted the pattern onto the panels of these shutters. And it wasn't perfect, it wasn't great, but I'd learned something new. And the job got done, it did look better. And the funny thing was, after that, someone came up to me and asked me if I could do a painting job for them. And I developed another little business from that. And so what had been a major obstacle for me had actually turned into an opportunity. And I was surprised by that. And over the course of years, we've had other obstacles, and I'm sure you have as well. And what we find is that, for the most part, those things that come in our way don't kill us. They make us stronger. They help us to find ways of learning things that we didn't know and finding new paths to carry on in our life. And so when we allow other things to come at us and we take them all in, it knocks us a step back all the time and it affects our mood. But do you know what? When I started painting those shutters, I was pleased because I was learning something new. I was trying something new, and it kind of built up some confidence in myself. And I think that's what happened when you stop allowing outside forces to control how you think and how you feel. And it's true that every adversity you face, every obstacle that comes in your way, every problem that you have in life, when you overcome them, you become a stronger person. And you get emotionally stronger than you've been before. It never leaves you worse off. I think there was a quote from a writer named Napoleon Hill that said, every setback, every failure, every heartache brings with it a seed of equal or greater opportunity. And depending on how you look at it, that's exactly what it does. And so you don't have to be beaten down by the outside stuff. If you keep yourself mentally strong, control your emotions, take a step back, you can feel so much better in the long run. I suppose, and finally, the other thing is not to let it all get on top of you, but to feel grateful for what you had and what you have. And that never came truer to me than when I had the situation with my kidney squatter. And there was that period of time when I didn't know whether I would see the next Christmas or whether I'd reach my next birthday or when I'd see my children. And it was another added weight, not like many of the others that we had before, that was on me. And I allowed it to get on top of me for a while. And then when I'd had the operation and then got into recovery and everything, I started to feel grateful. I'm now coming up to 8 years on since that happened. And it's amazing. I've overcome that. I've been very lucky to recover. I had good doctors, good surgeons and everything. And it's made me more grateful for things. I'm grateful that I'm still here because I might not have been. I'm grateful that they knew what they were doing and gave me a life again. I had a second chance. And I feel grateful because a lot of people don't have that. When everything is getting us down, when everything is coming on top and the world comes in on us and we allow it all to chuck itself in, do you know what? It's at times like that when you just need to step back and think to yourself, what am I grateful for? What have I got around me that makes me happy? Because if you look at the small things in life, like the sun coming out, for instance, it makes you feel good. And you controlling your life and taking a step back when you need to and just rethinking about things can change your whole world. It's well worth the effort, you know. That's about it for me from today. If you've got any comments to make, please make them down below. And I'll see you next time.